If you could be one of the ninja, who would you be?
I would probably be Kai, because Kai gets the chicks.
Okay, now who are you most like of the ninja?
Um, Probably more like Zane.
Because he doesn't get
I'm
the chicks.
because he's very analytical. He's
Yeah,
quiet. You can hear the gears going in his head while he's sitting back and everybody else is chatting or executing a plan.
right.
Um, yeah, I'd probably be like Zane.
Now, do you like watch the show at all to be able to figure it out, or you just watch a little bit? Like, what do you
I
do with
got
that?
I got into it when I started drawing the book. I sat down and watched a few seasons, and then I got hooked, and I watched almost all of them. I don't think I saw the very first season, but I got all the way up through Skybound and enjoyed the heck out of it. And then I've met, of course, the people that work on the brand, Lego, and guys on the show, the brothers,
Yeah,
uh, and they're all cool people. So it's really fun to get into.
yeah,
Looking forward.
they're all very, very cool people. What's the secret that you have to making your drawing so good?
The secret is I want to keep getting hired by Lego, so I make sure that I put a lot of effort into the art. I will say, actually, I think what works for me and why I get hired is not that I technically draw the Lego minifigures so well, but I really understand the personality and humor that should be coming through in those. I really try to put a lot of that in there for not just kids, but adults as well, and that really seems to resonate with a lot of people.
Right. So if I'm like a 17-year-old and I'm figuring out what I want to do to be an artist, would you say go to art school? Would you just say choose something like your path? Like, what would your advice be to those people in high school or just out of high school?
I think you should always try to first find some formal education on it because you will learn a lot of techniques, not just from a teacher, but from the other students around you.
Right.
They provide a lot of support to your work and a good critical analysis that you probably accept more than somebody who's done something more professionally for a long time because they're struggling just like you are. And you get great tips from people, your peers, that way. If you don't go to school, the internet is vastly huge. Is a vastly huge place to learn. There are artists everywhere sharing techniques and arts. It's wonderful. You can't go wrong either way, but I think that you just have to have the commitment to get yourself out there and look for it.
Have you ever drawn yourself as a Lego character?
I have not.
Tempted?
No. The one thing I tell people I won't draw, and I get asked it all the time, is to draw them as the real people drawn as Lego minifigures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I won't is because it's so time consuming and stressful to think about what hair piece do I need to research that best fits this person,
Right.
and what kind of face should it be. It's just too much. I can just easily sketch a regular character rather than somebody else.
And it's also if you, in their mind, might look like this, and you actually see what the world sees, which is this. And if you
Right.
actually drew that, you would actually offend them, and they'd have no
Right.
idea that they might not look like Brad Pitt.
Right.
Hardest character to draw.
The hardest characters are generally the bigger, bulkier ones. These bigger scale Hulk type figures,
Okay.
because they've got a lot of different lines and angles and stuff, and it's hard to imagine sometimes how to bend that knee, that elbow, get the head to crane up, because
Right.
they're so locked into place at that scale. It's hard for me. It takes time to figure out how to change that up.
What's the proudest work that you've done? You're most proud.
Um, the Lego Marvel Avengers game,
Yeah.
because that was my first big, really, really big project with Lego.
And you're working on another one of those covers right now, correct?
Yep, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. It'll also be full of a lot of art, more art than I did last time.
Yeah.
And it comes out November 15th.
There are some creators out there who come up with their own story and art. What are some steps that they can take to getting their work published?
I don't have any real experience in that. I do know that the best way to get your work in front of somebody is not necessarily through an email or sending it in the mail. you should always try to find that person and make your pitch directly to them. Like go to a convention, for example. Like if you're trying to sell a comic book, go find that publisher, go find that editor, present it to him at a table, shake his hand, make your introduction, do it that way.
With the ninja masks, do you put the head on first, then draw the mask, or do you draw the mask and then put the eyebrows and eyes on after?
I guess I draw the mask first because I know what shape I need for the mask and the head together. So I don't really draw the head first. I just draw the whole shape of the mask and then kind of put the lines all through it and then add the eyes last. Yeah.
Have the characters changed, in your opinion, from the ninja from the very, very start? Like, not from your drawings. I'm talking like the series, when you're copying like Ninja from season 1 to Ninja season 7 drawings. Have you had to adjust your style, or do you think that the characters have stayed very similar?
Well, I've come into it pretty late. You know, I started drawing this right around when Skybound was released last year. So I was already at their most evolved state at the time.
Right.
So my art didn't really change or have to be affected by that change.
Do you use certain colors for the light and shadows?
Digitally, I have a plan I always do when after I draw the figure, then I add, this is technical, but I add a layer of black for my shadows, and then I take the opacity of that black down to a certain degree, and that gives me like the gray tone or washes out the color to a certain level, and that's the way I do that. And the same with the light. I draw the white, hot white, and then I take that opacity down to a more subtle level.
Okay. Like a lot of us didn't understand that, but there's a lot of artists that really appreciated that, I think.
If I'm drawing it with a pencil, it's all markers. So it's like, you know, a darker tone over a lighter tone so I get the right shadow.
Which Ninjago suit do you like the best?
This style of suit because it's got just the right amount of detail.
Yeah.
Some of them that are really heavy with detail, they take so much time to draw. So I like less detail, but I still like a little bit of flair on them.
When you're drawing a character from Ninjago, for instance, are you going off like a screenshot from the TV show, or are you solely working off a minifig? Like, what is your process?
Sometimes, when I was doing Ninjago, I would pause and grab screenshots of some of the moves.
Right.
Like, help me figure out how do I stretch this minifigure's leg best to show a kick without breaking the rules about how to draw a minifigure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the CGI can stretch those limbs in ways that I can't totally conceive. So I do grab a lot of screenshots from the show. Yeah, I'll have the minifigure up in front of me while I draw all the time, or I'll just take a picture of it. Actually, if I've got a really difficult angle with a figure and a lot of detail on the mask or something like that, I might take that picture of that angle, and then I can import it into my art and kind of trace it if I need to.
Okay.
Or I just eyeball it when I'm drawing it on paper.
Who was your idol when you grew up for art?
A lot of comic artists. Everybody's heard of Jack Kirby, that drew comics for Marvel Comics. He's like the grandfather of art for them. Walt Disney's stuff, of course. He wasn't an artist, but he's synonymous with all the art style that came out of the studio. And I idolized a lot of guys too, like in the film industry, like Lucas and Spielberg. I mean, because their visuals affect me so much when I create story.
Do you have any tips for people on shading?
Yes. So if you would like to know how to shade better, you can do a simple trick. Especially, let's just use minifigures as a reference. You can line up some minifigures on your desk, put a flashlight behind them, put your camera light behind them, and try to put some shadow across them.
Okay.
And that will show you how the light is falling on items, or if they're not minifigures, a doll, clothing, whatever. And try to emulate that, and you'll start learning how light falls and where shadows fall off of the figure, how it reacts.
You're finishing this video game project off. Do you have stuff that we can look forward to seeing in the future?
Nothing that is in stone yet. I had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people at San Diego Comic-Con in July about what's next. When I finish this video game up soon, there's still another stage I do for them later this year that is downloadable content for the game.
Okay.
So I haven't finished that yet, and that'll take me the next year. And then there are some things that I probably will be doing next year, but not certain yet.
Is there any other art pieces that people can find of you online that aren't Lego?
My website has some sections of my gallery that show some of my old storyboard work from cartoons or
Yeah.
licensing that I did. Um, I think I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't Google searched me in a long time. I think a lot of people throw up sketches they get from me on their various pages.
Is there anything that you can say to your fans that are huge into your art to inspire them or just talk to them? Anything straight from you?
Thank you guys. I'm glad you dig it. That's why I keep going because people show a lot of excitement for it, especially in social media. My clients see that, the people that work at Lego see that, the video game guys see that, the publishers see that. So when you show me that you are digging what I'm doing, it's meaningful and I really appreciate it, and keep going.
You finally joined the Instagram family.
Brent was the first one to start bugging me to join Instagram.
And apologies to not following you back yet. What I do is when I interview somebody, I then follow them the same day and tell everybody to go follow them. So I'm hoping you get swarmed after this, because
Great.
if people don't know you're on Instagram and your art is there, I've seen it. I mean, I follow you on Twitter, so I see all your art that you post. But you're gonna get swarmed. Go follow Dan on Instagram, guys. And what's your Twitter handle again? I'll put all that stuff in the information below.
DVeese, it's DVeese.
Well, thanks for giving me the time and the fans the time to sit down with me and answer their questions. I super appreciate it. I'm so happy someone on my channel is going to get your art piece. And September 1st, go and buy How to Draw Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu by Dan the Man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.